Hello and welcome to the Morning Market Call. I'm Greg Lee. Joining me today, Tom Jackson, a senior in the Marriott School of Management studying finance. Tom, welcome to the show.
Great to be here.
It's always awesome having any Marriott School students, but especially we've been having more undergrads recently. It's been a lot of fun. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Chinese opinions on U.S. fiscal policy. Let's start off, though. Why do the Chinese care about the U.S. dollar?
Well, China bases their whole fiscal policy off the dollar. They build up huge cash reserves so that whenever there's a price movement in the dollar, they can move their yuan at the same rate.
So with hundreds of billions of dollars in treasuries and many trillions of dollars of dollar-backed securities, they fear kind of a decline in assets.
Exactly.
Now, why do they want it pegged to the dollar?
Well, China relies, you have to understand Chinese GDP. They rely heavily on exports. So when they undervalue their currency the way they're doing, they put themselves at a huge advantage over their European and Asian counterparts. They have cheaper goods, essentially.
Sure. Okay. And so they don't have then the domestic consumption right now to offset decreases in exports, right?
That's correct. They'd be very worried if the exports decrease, they would be very worried about their domestic consumption investments carrying the heavy load.
So what does China think right now of low U.S. interest rates?
Well, frankly, they hate it. They think that it's leading to massive speculation in the markets. They think that this is going to really lead to another asset bubble because there's so much volatility in the markets right now.
Okay, so Chinese obviously aren't happy with Geithner and the rest of the Treasury Department.
Not even a little bit.
With Bernanke on the Fed. What do we think?
Frankly, we don't really care. This is a classic case, Greg, of the pot calling the kettle black. We've been begging China to let their currency appreciate, but they haven't listened to us, so we have no reason to listen to them, honestly.
Okay. Now, you were pointing out earlier that the rest of the world isn't real pleased with Chinese fiscal policy either, pegging the yuan.
No.
If they were to unpeg the yuan from the dollar, what would happen to the rest of the world?
Well, if they were to unpeg the yuan from the dollar, it would even the playing field for all these emerging markets. Then everyone would be able to have the same honest price levels. They would also be able to offer the same level of demand for labor. Since they have cheap labor right now, they would offer the same level of demand for labor. And things would be a little bit more fair in the world.
Okay. So what should we do? Final wrap-up question. I mean, what's the decision point now?
Well, I got three potential solutions for China, or for the U.S., actually. First, we can make a deal with them and say, hey, look, when this recession ends, why don't we both let our interest rates rise together, okay? You stop pegging your yuan to our dollar, and we'll let our interest rates rise. Second, we can start boycotting Chinese goods. Our kids may not feel so great about that since they provide pretty cool toys, but hey, if they're not going to listen to us, why should we listen to them, right?
Well, and also, you know, considering my daughter, I'm not really sure I want to buy the lead paint toys for her right now anyway, so maybe that'll just drop on its own. Anyway, keep going.
And this is my favorite point. My favorite idea the U.S. can do is say, look, you know, Japan really hates the Chinese fiscal policy. Okay, they're probably the ones that are taking the brunt of the effect here.
Okay.
We could say, hey, look, China, if you don't stop pegging your yuan to our dollar, we're going to go ahead and peg our dollar to the Japanese yen. We'll ask them, hey, how do you like us now?
That's awesome. I love it. All right. Well, Tom, thank you so much for being with us on the show today.
Always a pleasure.
And viewers, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on the Morning Market Call.
The Morning Market Call is a production of the Marriott School of Business at Brigham Young University and is made possible by generous donations from Larry Tasjan and Gary Williams. This webcast was produced by Greg Lee, Tim Hart, Julie Kellett, and Jonathan Marucci.